This is GX UK, a super affordable owner-driver karting series. And for this weekend at Clay Pigeon Raceway, I'm giving it a go. In this video, you're going to see my first 4 ever races and see how I get on overall. Because if you've seen this channel before, you know I compete in lawn mower racing because of how affordable and accessible it is. And this suggests it could be just as good, but for karting. So let's see what this series is all about. Right, so we're here at Clay Pigeon. Brad is here. We just had a whole day's testing, which is a previous video on the channel yesterday, and now it's race day. So yeah, Clay Pigeon, like really fast circuit. Brad, what do I need to be focusing on? Bearing in mind, it's my first ever race weekend in a kart like this.
Yeah, so because it's your first weekend and you're right on the front, you're on the front of the grid, you need to be clean and stretch out a bit of a lead. Hopefully a lead, but certainly stretch out and consolidate that good starting position. Essentially what I'm saying is you need to not fight too much early doors.
Yeah, from testing yesterday, I think I'm like half a second, 6/10 off like the really, really quick times. So happy with that. I just need to make sure I'm staying with them, I suppose. I'm also starting on the outside, so I imagine it's going to be a case of getting to the inside as soon as possible and like trying to follow in the train, right?
Yeah, I'm in the same position as you with a left of the grid start to begin with.
Yeah.
And you're right, with this corner here being a long right-hander, and as you know from yesterday, being on the inside is the advantage. That's where you want to be. You're going to be hung out to dry unless you can fight your way to the inside. So essentially, you need to do whatever you can to get your car in a position on the inside.
Right, let's go to the first race. So with that advice from Brad, we're hopping straight in. Now, for this race, because of the random grid format, I'm starting in second place. So this is going to be a real baptism of fire. Now, I know the racing here is super close, and as we roll up for the start, you're about to see that. So the lights go out, and we're going to get started. Foot to the floor. We're following George Massey here on the inside, and I should have grabbed that space on the inside. I didn't know it was there. Now, Alex Van Gien has managed to get just up the side, also making a video this weekend, and sticks me out to dry over that over the chicane, and that means I lose a bit of momentum, and now everyone is going to be hot on my tail here. I thought I'd covered off the inside, evidently not enough, and so Ash Candola sticks it down the inside. Now we've got everyone all over us. I still haven't got in my flow here, got up to speed. Brad stuck it down the inside, and Jacob's about to follow him through here in this lovely B&Q livery. Now we've got one down the inside that does push us wide, and you can see from that one mistake we've lost so many places, just not getting up to momentum. I actually get hit there and run wide and still lose another 5-6 places. You can see this has been an absolutely dreadful start from what was a tiny little mistake at the beginning of this race, but that's okay. We're going to try and settle and see what we can do. There's a few stacking up on the inside here, so we decide to give it a run around the outside, still trying to choose the right lane here. I push 17 and I think just managed to avoid getting held up even more there. So you can see with this karting, because everything is so close, the karts are so evenly matched, the slipstream is so strong that you really have to be ruthless and make sure you're following people through to move forward rather than moving backwards. So in this race we have only moved backwards from second place, but still in an okay position overall. So we're going to try and see what we can do here. We have slightly lost the pack ahead. We've got number 11 behind us, so we're going to try and figure out what we can do here to try and get by. Now, yeah, Tom Butler sticks it down the inside, and this point I do just squeeze him slightly, and we do have contact actually getting up off the ground there. And if I do rewind, you can see here I just squeeze him just a little bit too much, and our rear wheels touch. That is a rookie mistake for my first ever weekend. We actually spoke about it after the event, and Tom said it was his fault for squeezing me, but actually looking back at the footage, it isn't that way round. But I'm glad he was okay, I was okay, everything was all right from that. That's the sort of situation where you could bend an axle, and this amazing kart that Brad has lent me, I don't want to be breaking it. So as we get on through this race, you can see here I'm just trying to catch up to the group ahead. I do have a little bit of help from behind, so that is helping a little bit here as we try and push on. But you can see here, as the pack ahead begins to fight, we do gain, and you can see in those two corners I've gained massively here. So now it's going to be about following the right kart through to try and choose the right path through this group of karts here. Tom sticks it down the inside, but we do manage to sweep around the outside and carry the momentum through. So we've got to run on 22 here. What are we going to do? Trying to stick in the slipstream, not quite good enough here, so I do pull out. I think about a move here, but actually I go for just this half move there, a tiny bit of contact there, and that allows Tom to stick it up the inside and go through. And so we have got Paul behind us, Brad's brother, in the luminous kart. I really like the way his kart looks. So we're going to defend to make sure he can't come around the outside here. just covering off that inside line, and we do start to work together here. So he gives me a little bit of a push there, and we're going to try and work together to catch the pack ahead. You can see there through that section I could have gained a couple of places there, but it was about picking the right move, which I didn't do. I went in with that kind of half move, and that meant that one could get up the inside, and that has been the real learning here. Mower racing, if there's a move on, you kind of go for it. There's not a massive risk of loads of people following you through because the circuits are so tight. Whereas here, as soon as someone gets up the inside, as you can see, Paul has just got up my inside there. I made a slight mistake, then it's likely you're going to lose more than one place. So Paul's signalling he wants to work together. I think he was up for pushing me, but since I made that mistake, run a little bit wide, he grabbed the position. So I'm going to try and help him through here. He goes up the inside of 79. I follow him through, but 79's got to run all the way around the outside here. So I'm going to stick in his slipstream here, hoping I can get a good run on Paul, and we are just going to give him a shove so he can get through, and we are going to follow him through there down the inside. And so I'm hoping for more of those here. Paul, obviously, being Brad's brother, was with us in the paddock. We were all working together this weekend. These guys were helping me figure out setting up this car, keeping on top of the maintenance throughout the weekend, and so we did a lot of chatting going into this. There's a couple of people run wide there, and so I am just going to try and get back on the back of Paul here and see what we can do. So he's settled into the slipstream of this pack ahead, going to try and pick his way through. I have dropped off slightly. I was suffering a little bit with the rear end at this stage, and as we come through to finish the race, I didn't manage to get any more done, but considering that was my first race, I wasn't too happy with the start, but I was happier with the end. Alright, first race done. That thing was brutal. I made one mistake at the beginning. I couldn't slot in early enough, and then I just got completely ram-raided. So many people came past, and I couldn't ever get back in a flow, back up to speed, and because people kept coming past. So I think from second on the grid, I finished way down, like 15th or 16th, something like that. So yeah, not a great first race, but about to go for second race, and we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely going to try and be a bit more aggressive, fight for the position, and yeah, go for it really. So, second race, as we get lined up here, a few things have happened. Now, I'm going to mention a couple in a second, but keep an eye in front. On the warm-up lap, just trying to warm up his tyres, that kart does spin. Now, that was actually the third place we'd grabbed on the grid. Two people got penalties for being late to the grid, so that benefited me as they were directly in front of me, and another one spun. So we've managed to move up a few positions here. I think we were starting 17th or somewhere like that, and so we have managed to push our way forwards here and actually get really in the pack. So I have managed to find my rhythm here, which was something I didn't manage to do in the previous race. This was my goal, was slot in, get to the inside as soon as possible, even if you have to lose one or two positions, but just get up to speed, get up to momentum, and that was what I was really trying to do. So as we settle in behind Tom, the guy we had contact with earlier on, I was happy with how I got on with the start of this second race. Starting to get a feel for the racing here, starting to get a feel for how to drive this kart quickly in the race. Obviously, we had a fair bit of testing before. There is another video up on my channel all about how we built and we tested this kart. But driving it in the race with other people here, you can see, for example, I'm having to defend here. So trying to learn all of those lines as well and still keep the minimum speed up was a real skill that I was starting to get hold of here. Also learning a lot of new techniques for me. For example, you're leaning in on the lawnmower not to get thrown off, whereas here on the kart you're leaning out to pick up that inside. So yeah, number 20 does have a look up the inside, but I managed to keep my foot in, leave him some space and run all the way up around the outside, keeping momentum, and so we can hold on to it on the straight. Now I am having to cover him off here, so I'm going slightly defensive into that first corner, but still trying to keep it to the inside, and I do manage just to cover that off. One thing there is if you go defensive on the way in, then sometimes people can get up the inside. So we're going to see that again. I do manage to do the same thing the next lap here and keep everyone behind. So we are managed to keep a pack behind us, figuring out our defensive line. This number 20 is all over us, and Paul Handley, Brad's brother, again is behind in that neon kart. So we end up quite close on the track, and number 20 is going to have a look up the inside, even though we're under yellow flag. That's why I didn't cover it off, and it's why I put my hand out. But I didn't know if he hadn't seen it, so he wouldn't give me the position back. But he actually did there. And Brad is going to have a look up the inside of his brother here into that final corner, and he has managed to get it done. So Brad is locked into the slipstream of number 20, who's trying to get by me as well. And so Brad is going to have a look up the inside here into this bottom corner. So he's managed to get that done, winning the previous race, and so trying to fly through in this one. And yeah, as I mentioned in the previous video in this series, Brad is super quick. You can see just how fast he is here. I do manage to cover him off. I don't want to, again, have one person come through and yeah, so I do cover off this inside, but I tried to open it up at the last minute to carry some momentum, and that's enough for Brad to stick it up the inside. So we're going to work with him here. Obviously, we know he's super fast, so I'm going to try and see if I can push him along, help him if any, and just let him carry us along for the next couple of laps. So as we get into the slipstream here, I am going to give him a good bump, try and keep him moving, and help him in his race. But actually, we've had number 16 stick it down the inside. Russell Endine this is, who was following Brad through from the back of the pack, also with us in the paddock this weekend. And so yeah, he managed to get through, and then we've got number 20 back on us. But I had kind of figured out how to cover off his moves up until now. But here he has got a really good run with a push from behind, and he is going to manage to go all the way around the outside on the straight here. And as I'm worried about him, Jacob Sharrock sticks it down the inside with a really good move. So, but to be honest, those guys were so fast that they were going to be coming past anyway, so I didn't want to lose too much time battling them. But here, this was a mistake where I should have covered off that inside move. I do manage to stick it up the inside here again, and we've got number 53 following us through. And so here it's going to be about trying to lose as few positions as possible. Again, all of these guys have been racing all season, very used to their karts, and so me hopping in for the last time, it was always going to be an uphill battle. Just hopping in for the first time, I should say, and trying to be up to speed. Number 53 is going to stick it down the inside with a really good move there. So I'm going to follow him through and just try and push him on so we can keep going as fast as possible. And as we come through to the checkered flag, I believe that was a 12th place finish, so happy with that. So second race is done. That was much better. I managed to defend. There was a bit of a train behind me. I was very defensive, so we lost the pack in front, but I just had to hang on to it because there were so many great drivers behind me. So that was much better. Started 12th. I think it was actually 10th because there's a couple of grid penalties and someone span in front of me on the opening lap. But I managed to hold on to it and do much better, so really happy with that. I have changed the setup a bit. I've gone in on the rear for a bit more rear end grip. I'm still struggling through the faster corners, just losing a bit of traction. So yeah, all things I've learned. All this setup stuff is so different. It's been way better. So yeah, really happy with that one. Third heat, and then there's a final. So stay tuned. So third race settling in behind Alex Van Gien as we get started right away here. And again, on the inside, you can see no one wants to give up that inside position. So the whole thing squeezes up. There is an accident on the outside that we managed to stay out of. And so, yeah, we're going to follow through 74 here. And again, managed to get slotted in. That was my goal here after learning from that disaster of a first race. And actually, number 14 shoves it all the way around the outside. Also making a video this weekend. Mango Motorsport is his channel. With an excellent move there. And so you can see here, now it's got so congested trying to pick our way through. And again, just getting caught up in that battle and having to check up has cost me 3 positions on the way out of that corner there. So again, it was one of those things where I got it, the first half of the lap, I was in a good flow, and then managed to get caught up behind something I didn't want to be, and losing a few positions. So I'm going to try and get back on that group. Again, into this top corner, because they're all still fighting, I do manage to close down that gap. And so 43 slotted in. We're going to push him onwards, see what we can do here. And now at this stage of the race, I'm just trying to get in a flow, trying to stick with this pack and see what we can do, because there's still a load of karts behind us. Again, this was our lowest grid position for this third race. And so it's kind of figuring out what we could do from here. So we have got a good run here. I'm going to pull up the inside, but again, 43's got slipstream of the kart in front, Paul Handley again. And so, yeah, all that was tricky. And I do look down the inside, but I wasn't alongside at the apex, so he does just turn in, which is totally fair enough. And we get our bumpers caught together. But I do keep my foot in it there. And so we are going to try and get onto the back of the pack in front. And as I say that, there's a couple of karts spinning out into this third race. down at the bottom there, so we do grab a few positions that way, and 53 stuck on the outside. I'm going to follow Paul through, and he does have to back out in the second part of that chicane. And so again, Paul is opening up the gaps, and I'm managing to follow him through. We get up the inside of one, I think about the other one, but I do just have to check up there to avoid hitting him. He was focused on the corner and not leaving space there, which was totally fair enough, as I wasn't alongside, so I didn't want to cause a collision there. So 26 here, shaking his head. I think that was a back marker who did cost him some time there, and so yeah, just shaking his head. But we are taking that opportunity to go up the inside, and again, I'm going to try and get onto the back of Paul Handley if we can, and let him drag us through this pack some more. So yeah, cracking on with it. Again, we've got, I think this is another really fast kart behind us. Yeah, number 53 comes by us again, so similar to before. I do think about the cutback here, but actually I back out and let him take that, and we're going to follow him through. So the rest of the race was really me just trying to stick with him, put in the best laps I can, and finish out this race. So yeah, a decent result for us there. I'm not sure what the final position was, but happy with that considering it's only our third race. Right, so 3 races done, 1 final race left to go. It's been a great weekend so far, loads of practice, and then 3 really awesome, really busy races. It's taught me a lot. It's like you have to defend it or someone will throw it down the inside. So it's very different racing to I'm used to, but really, really good. So I'm starting P17, which at 30 karts I think is all right. And so yeah, try and do the best we can in the final. Brad here is also posting a video of his whole weekend. So you should definitely check that out and thank him for lending me an amazing kart. He's actually selling this kart and others, aren't you? Yeah. Very soon. So yeah, how's your weekend been?
Mine's been really good. I had a really, really good practice day yesterday, so I knew I had good pace. And today I've had a win, 7th and another win. So pole for the final. I needed to really only finish about 7th to win the championship. Yeah. So if I have any kind of normal final now, even if it isn't the win, then I should have won the championship. So yeah, it's looking good.
That's really good. You've been flying through the pack. There's been little incidents everywhere, so kind of picking your way through has been tricky. But yeah, good luck. Thank you so much for doing this. It's been epic.
It's been really good having you, and thank you very much for bringing my kart back in one piece. And with
so far,
I mean, there's a lot more rubber on the stickers than there was at the beginning of the day, but stickers aren't that expensive, so it's good.
Right, now the final. So thank you so much to Brad for giving me this opportunity. You should definitely check out his channel. He helped me, obviously he provided this kart, helped me build it, taught me how to race it, and has now got us to this point. So yeah, really do go and thank him on his channel. So we're going to jump into this final race of the weekend here, the grand final, and we qualified as something like 19th, 17th, and so yeah, again, this inside is checked up. And so we're going to try and follow everyone through. A few people threw it around the outside, but I think that's cost them overall because that inside line is so important. So we're going to get into this train. 87 hasn't got a great run out of that chicane, so we are going to go up the inside. But again, there's space on the outside for him to break deep into. 17 comes across us, and so we do manage to just avoid contact there again. I don't want to ruin these stickers for Brad even more. So we're going to try and swing it around the outside. I have seen this work before throughout this weekend, and so yeah, we do manage to get that done, grabbing another position there. So happy with that for our first lap. Again, we haven't got cost too much in this section and managed to get onto the back of this pack. So again, we have got the slipstream from this range, but only very slightly, and again, a few karts behind, so I'm having to cover off the inside, but managed to keep it neat and tidy as Paul Handley sticks one up the inside of the kart behind me. A really great move. That one was on all weekend. If you could hang it tight to the apex on that first corner, then you could often pick up a couple of positions. So again, at this stage, Paul is going to help us. I do cover off the inside and then move over. I do realise who is behind me and that he's probably going to want to work with me. So yeah, again, we've got a little bit of a gap to the group ahead, but early on in this slightly longer final race, we have got plenty of time to catch up here. And so I was really happy with the car here. I did mention I made a slight setup change earlier on, and that made the rear end much better, much grippier. And so Paul is pushing us down the straight here, gaining a load of speed, so really happy with that. I don't cover it off down the inside, and we're going to hang up to the inside through this first corner, through turns 1 and 2. Again, the pack ahead is starting to battle here, so we are going to be able to close in. We've got a really good run through this section, and especially with my secret weapon, Paul, behind, pushing whenever possible, then this was going to be really good. So yeah, you can see through those couple of corners we've gained a decent amount on the group in front, and then they are really fighting now, all costing each other lots of time, and so we can get up on the pack here. So you can see we have over through these corners we've caught up a load. Now it's about picking the right lane, seeing what we can do. Tom Butler on the inside, number 33 is running slow but on the right, on the inside, which I wanted, so I was going to try and push him and go up the inside here, but that didn't quite work because he didn't have the momentum to get that done. So we're going to follow him through this section up over the curbs. They're really quite decently sized curbs here this weekend, but you're running all over them all weekend, but so you do get used to that. So we've got on the back of the pack now. It's about trying to strategize our way through. Again, Paul is trying to help us through at this stage, and so seeing what we can do. Running through this corner, you do see how this goes slightly wrong, so I was really happy with my speed through here. I've got a great run. I turn into the final corner, which is just about flat out, and Paul gives me a slight push, and I run out a little bit wide. So yeah, I had the rear on the limit, and Paul just tried to help, giving me a push, but that pushed the rear end kind of over the limit of adhesion, and so that cost me a position there. I am trying to keep hold of it against 87, but he's got a really good run, and there is a collision in front. One goes over the grass, hits another car, and so I had to back out of the throttle, and then I get squeezed. And so yeah, that's cost me a couple of positions there behind 17, making that slight mistake. I'm not sure what caused that, but yeah, trying to avoid that collision has cost me some time. Paul has managed to weave his way through there perfectly. I don't know how he did that, but he did very well. And so again, I'm in a tricky position here where I was starting to make momentum, and then that momentum was halted, and I think about a move up the inside here, but it wasn't quite on, and I had to dab a bit of brakes at the last minute. So again, that's cost me some time. I was kind of shaking my head in the helmet there. I knew that was a silly mistake. Either go for it or don't. And so again, this pack is really fighting up in front. I've got really good momentum. I think about a move down the inside, and I do go for it, but I run a little bit deep, and so 17, wise to that move, manages to cut me back, and I've still got the inside, but not quite enough to keep my foot in there, so I have to lift. And again, going for another half move has cost me some time here. Often, again, drawing on my other experience, often half a move in a lawnmower race is enough, because contact will often result in you coming off. People are a little bit more cautious, and so if you do go for a half move, often people will leave you the space. Where in these karts, that's absolutely not going to be the case. With these packed grids and really close racing, people are going to only give you space if you really make sure they have to. And so yeah, this racing was really super fun. We're coming to the closing end of this race, and number 37 sees a position. I get checked up behind those karts, and he runs it all the way around the outside, which was a great move, but unfortunately was on the final lap, so I didn't have time to have a fight back here. And we are going to come through to finish this final race. What an epic weekend. GX UK is an excellent series, I have to say. If you're wanting to get into karting for not a lot of money, this is the place to come. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out Brad's video from the other end of the pack just here, and also Alex Van Gien has also posted his weekend, so you should definitely check both of these out. Subscribe for more. See you in the next one.